I was wearing a cheap orange uniform, scrubbing heavy metal pans in a prison kitchen for 8 cents an hour, wondering how an Academy Award nominee had fallen so far. How does a man who lost his freedom, his career, and his family build himself back into one of the most successful actors in the world? Learn English with my story. Listening, shadowing, main points with examples, and fun stories. Welcome to Learn English with my story. Today, you will hear a real story told from the perspective of the person who lived it, and along the way, we will learn some natural English together. Let us begin. My name is Robert Downey Jr. I was born on April 4th, 1965. I am an actor, and for a long time, I had a wonderful life in Hollywood. By the early 1990s, people respected my work. I even received an Oscar nomination for playing Charlie Chaplin. However, behind the cameras, I was hiding a dark secret. I was struggling with severe drug addiction. I started using substances when I was just a young boy, and as I grew older, the problem grew with me. For years, I managed to hide my addiction. Hide means to keep something out of sight or keep it a secret. For example, she tried to hide the gift behind her back. I kept my problem hidden, but eventually, the addiction became too strong. During the late 1990s, my life started to fall apart. Fall apart is a phrasal verb that means to break into pieces, or in life when everything goes wrong. For example, after he lost his job, his life began to fall apart. My career was definitely falling apart. I was getting arrested multiple times. I missed court dates. I lost jobs because directors could not trust me. My friends and family were completely exhausted from trying to help me. I was making terrible choices, and I could not stop. In August 1999, the legal system finally lost its patience. A judge sentenced me to 36 months in a state prison. I was sent to the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison. When the metal doors locked behind me, the reality hit me hard. I was no longer a famous movie star. I was just inmate number P50522. I felt completely isolated. Isolated means being alone and separated from other people. For example, the cabin is located in an isolated area. In that crowded prison, I had never felt more isolated. Life inside was very different from Hollywood. I slept in a small cell. I ate terrible food. I was assigned to work in the prison kitchen. My job was washing huge pots and pans. Every day, I stood over a sink of hot, dirty water. I scrubbed baked-on food for hours. It was a humiliating experience. Humiliating means making someone feel ashamed or foolish. For example, forgetting his speech in front of everyone was a humiliating moment. Washing pots for pennies a day was incredibly humiliating. Yet, in some strange way, the routine helped me. There were no parties. There were no cameras. There was just time. Time to think about the pain I had caused my family. Time to realize that my choices had led me exactly to this dirty kitchen sink. Will I ever get a second chance, or is my life in movies completely over? After spending nearly a year in prison, I was released on parole in August 2000. I felt a sudden rush of hope. I got a role on a popular television show called Ally McBeal. The public was happy to see me back. I even won a Golden Globe Award for my performance. On the outside, It looked like a perfect comeback. Comeback is a noun that means a return to success after a period of failure. For example, the team made a great comeback in the second half of the game. But the truth was much darker. Inside, my mind was still sick. I had not truly solved my internal problems. Shortly after returning to acting, I relapsed. Relapse means to return to a bad habit or illness after a period of improvement. For example, he quit smoking for a year, but had a relapse last month. I relapsed and started using drugs again. In April 2001, I was arrested again in Los Angeles. The producers of Ally McBeal fired me immediately. My wife left me. The judge ordered me to go to rehab. I had officially hit rock bottom. Hit rock bottom is an idiom. It means to reach the lowest possible level or the worst situation. For example, before he decided to change, he had to hit rock bottom. I had absolutely nothing left. I remember sitting in a cheap motel room, looking at myself in the mirror. I looked old, tired, and deeply sad. I realized that if I did not stop right then, I was going to die. No one else could fix me. The police could not fix me. Prison could not fix me. I had to make the choice myself. Oh, could I actually walk away from the drugs this time? Or would the addiction win forever? In July 2001, I finally decided to turn my life around. Turn around is a phrasal verb that means to change a bad situation into a good one. For example, the new manager helped to turn the business around. I knew turning my life around would be the hardest thing I had ever done. I entered a strict recovery program. This time, I did not just sit in meetings. I actively participated. I listened to people who had been sober for years. Sober means not being drunk or affected by drugs. For example, you need a sober driver to take you home. I desperately wanted to be a sober father for my young son. I started practicing martial arts. The discipline helped calm my anxious mind. I ate healthy food. I stayed away from old friends who still used drugs. I focused on simple, quiet days. Slowly, my mind became clear. I started to feel emotions again, without needing chemicals to hide them. But getting my personal life back was only half the battle. Rebuilding my career seemed nearly impossible. In Hollywood, I was considered a major liability. Liability means a person or thing that causes problems or financial risk. For example, his bad attitude makes him a liability to the team. No insurance company would cover me for a movie, which meant studios could not hire me. I felt frustrated, but I refused to give up. Give up is a very common phrasal verb. It means to stop trying or accept defeat. For example, even though the puzzle is hard, I will not give up. I kept going to therapy and passing my drug tests. Oh, then, a miracle happened. My old friend, Mel Gibson, decided to help me. He personally paid my insurance bond so I could act in a movie called The Singing Detective in 2003. It was a small role, but it proved to the industry that I was reliable. Reliable means that someone can be trusted to do what is expected. For example, she is a very reliable worker who is always on time. I showed up on time, knew my lines, and did not cause trouble. Slowly, directors started trusting me again. I took small roles in independent films. I saved my money. I married my wonderful wife, Susan, who supported my sober lifestyle completely. She was my rock during those difficult early years. How does a reliable but small-time actor jump back into the center of Hollywood? By 2006, I was healthy, focused, and ready for a bigger challenge. I heard that Marvel Studios was making a movie about a comic book hero named Iron Man. The character, Tony Stark, was a wealthy, arrogant genius who had everything, lost it all, and had to build himself a mechanical heart to survive. I read the script and felt a deep connection. Tony Stark's journey of making terrible mistakes and trying to redeem himself felt exactly like my own life. I begged the director, Jon Favreau, to let me audition. The studio executives said absolutely no. They thought casting me was too risky. They wanted a safe, traditional star, but Jon fought for me. He believed that my past struggles made me perfect for the role. Finally, the studio agreed to a screen test. A screen test is a short filmed audition to see how an actor looks on camera. I spent weeks preparing. I wanted it more than anything. When the camera rolled, I poured all my life experience into the character, all the pain, the arrogance, the regret, and the humor. The studio executives watched the tape and changed their minds. I got the part. Oh. When Iron Man opened in theaters in 2008, it changed my life forever. The movie was a massive global success. I went from being an uninsurable risk to the center of the biggest movie franchise in history. Standing on the red carpet at the premiere, I thought back to the prison kitchen. I remembered the smell of the dirty water and the sound of the metal pans. The contrast was almost too much to believe. I realized that the darkest parts of my past had actually prepared me for this bright future. I had to lose everything to learn how to truly appreciate what I have. Today, I try to stay humble. Humble is an adjective that means not thinking you are better than other people. For example, despite his great success, he remained a humble man. I am just grateful for every single day of my life. I am Robert Downey Jr., and this is my story of starting over. Sometimes, life breaks us down so completely that we have to rebuild ourselves from scratch. My journey taught me that no matter how far you fall or how dark it gets, you can always choose to turn on the light and try again. If you found this story inspiring, please subscribe and like the channel so you do not miss our future episodes. This channel explores fascinating real stories and real crime cases while helping you improve and master your English. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.